Hello and welcome back to Quicks14Blog, Quicks14 here. Getting right back into Nax here as we go through the Construct Quarter, starting off with Me Kill You. Yeah, Patchwork. Patchwork is the bane of 25-man for, well, anyone who's done 25-man knows. But let's go to 10-man as we go through the Construct Quarter, and you're going to see us one-shot Patchwork here. This was actually kind of interesting because near the end of the fight of this particular fight, one of our hunters, or one of our DPS, it actually did DC on us, and so I actually had to come in and help out finishing him off. This is pretty much a enrage timer fight. You need to burn him down as quickly and as fast as possible. He does a lot of hateful strikes against different tanks. So the more tanks on him, the easier he'll be to control and to be able to spread out those hateful strikes, which pretty much means the healers need to be up and running hardcore. And this is where a lot of 25-mans have trouble. He is on a very quick enrage timer. It's not very long, so you have to burn him down fast. This is basically a tank and spank, but it's got to be done as quickly as possible. As you can see here, we're just healing like nuts, and we have to, because these hateful strikes hurt, and you really got to watch it. Most of the raid isn't going to take much damage, if any, so really your heals need to be focused on the tanks at all times. Follow your healing assignments if you are a healer, and if you are a tank, you just whack at him, keep at it. Share the hateful strikes. If you get more, watch it. And the biggest thing, of course, when you're tanking him at this area is stay out of the green slime. Please stay out of the green fucking slime. If you are DPS, burn him down with everything you've got. AoEs are not required here, and they're not going to really help you all that much. They'll just waste some mana. Just shoot him at everything you got as fast as possible. As you can see here, we are doing really well. We have 3 Druid trees, and so it's keeping our heals pretty darn good. And we are just firing everything we have at him. As you can see, he's getting closer and closer, but his enrage timer is getting lower and lower. In fact, he has about a little over a minute till his enrage timer goes. And when he enrages, it's game over. So you'll see us really pour it on here. And as you can see, I'm starting to go to DPS since we have 3 Druid trees, and the way my geared is spec right now, it's like go ahead and just switch over and shoot DPS at him. So that's what I did, especially when we lost one of our hunters to a DC, and we did burn him down, which was really cool. This was my first actual instance with him. I never had fought Patchwork before, so that was an interesting introduction. In 10-man, of course, so that was the deal. And of course, we get our wonderful loot here. And he does have some great loot. He drops some awesome stuff, of course, 25-man and everything. A lot of 25-mans like to start with the Construct Quarter, or the Arachnid Quarter. So does 10-mans, they're just standard. That's kind of why I've started with them here. I did the Arachnid Quarter, of course, last time, so I figured I'd go ahead and do the Construct Quarter this time. And so we come to our first piece of loot, which is a nice plate piece. Look at that. That is just freaking awesome. And very nice tanking plate piece. Look at that defense rating. That is the perfect plate piece. So a lot of people start with Arachnid and Construct Quarter. This is Construct Quarter. It's a good way to find out where you're at. Obviously, the Arachnid first boss is probably the easiest out of all of them. Well, not the easiest, but definitely one of the more easier ones. So now we move on to everyone's favorite. This is the second boss in the Construct Quarter, Mr. Poison Man. That's what I like to call him. This is a really coordinated fight. You have to really be paying attention, watching where you're dropping stuff. You're going to get this poison cloud, as you can see, and he drops them as he's tanked along, and he's pretty much kited across the room, around the entire room, with everyone keeping just behind him and healing and shooting stuff at him. Every so often he's going to inject a player with poison, and when that happens they need to go to the nearest wall or just far enough away not in the middle, but towards the wall as much as possible to drop the poison. There's also ads that need to be off-tanked. This is a really coordinated fight, and this is probably where a lot of people struggle the most in Construct Quarter, because this took us quite a while to get down and figure out and actually get it so we could actually beat him. In fact, this is a wipe you're going to watch here, and you're going to see how close we get and how we're getting there and how it can all fall apart. Dropping the poisons is probably the hardest, because you got to really time it right. You got to really watch and pay attention what you're doing, because these poisons hurt. And when you drop the poison, you got a split second to get out of there before it starts to spread. And as you can see, it spreads as it fades away, but it gets really, really big. And if you cross into it, of course, you're going to take damage and probably get poisoned again. That was a really bad poison drop right there at the corner. On top of this, when you get in front of the tank who's kiting the boss across the room, ads are going to come out, and they do an AoE, so they need to be off-tanked by someone towards the middle of the room or something to that effect in order to keep the AoE off of everyone. You add these to the poisons and it really hurts. And of course, as he goes along, because this really is he has like a 10-minute in range timer, so you can take your time DPSing him down and managing the poisons, but as he goes along, he is going to increase his intensity of injecting, and that's where kiting him becomes important. It basically has to be done at a certain pace to keep the poisons as dropped as possible, keep them as separated as much as possible, while allowing them time to dissipate on the next go around, because if you don't do that, well, obviously people are going to fall into it and all that crap. It's just really, really bad. So that's what you need to do with him. The healing of this fight isn't too bad. If you have the right amount of people, you just gotta keep raid heals, having somebody healing people who do get pots. That way when they drop them, you can heal them up to make sure that they have enough time to get back and they don't cross any other poisons and get hurt. Just paying attention when you have the poison really, really helps. Deadly boss mods and big wigs, of course I use big wigs, is a huge help. Deadly boss mods does its best, and big wigs does its best to mark people who get injected with a skull over their head. But of course, when he increases intensity, this really doesn't become viable, so you really, really need to pay attention to your deadly boss mons or big wigs when it says somebody's injected, and actually move, because if you don't, you're going to get hurt really, really fast, and you could end up killing everybody in your raid, and it's just nasty. As you can see here, things are starting to fall apart. People are starting to die. The ads are getting out of control. Their AoE is hurting us a lot. And on top of that, people are dying and dropping their poisons where they died, and there I go. So this is a wipe. This was our wipe, and it's unfortunate. It was definitely not our first or our last. It happens a lot. So here we go, second go. This is going to be an actual successful attempt, and you're going to see that it can take a while. Being patient with this fight is what's important. If you try to overdo it or rush it, it could be very, very, very bad. This is just a coordinated fight, so you really need to watch what you're doing. Really need to watch it. It's just paying attention and being coordinated and watching your poisons, pretty much. If you are a healer, keeping track of everyone, please, please, please don't forget to heal yourself, especially if you're a druid. And you do get poisoned, you head to the wall, put hots on you. I've done this a lot. I've actually died because of it, and that's not good for you or the raid, because they need you healing out there. So healers cross-healing each other helps a lot too. I know Trax is saved my ass more than a few occasions because I'm just not paying attention to my heals enough. So as you can see, we're doing much better here of control. We're getting more into the groove of things, and it just takes some time to get used to it. We've added some DPS just to switch it up a little bit in order to try and increase the amount of time it takes, so that we're actually 2 healing this, which can be done. It's not that hard. So instead of 3 healers, one of our healers has gone to his Boom Kim form, is actually DPSing, and to give us that extra thing, because as you saw in the last one, he was almost dead as it was. So we're giving this another go, and I believe we do down him in this attempt. I really don't want to show you 2 wipes again, especially since we're going to have to go into a second part here. He's around 50% now, or getting very close. Again, you can see he's increasing his intensity of these poisons. You just it's not really that hard, and of course he does drop poison clouds as well. So you really got to pay attention to that when you're going to the wall and dropping poisons, that you don't cross into that, because especially when you're coming out of dropping a poison, because you take like half damage or whatever. And I've had it happen, and I've had other people happen before, where they'll come out of a poison when they're doing that, just trying to get back into the fight, and then, oh look, there's a poison there that he dropped in the Nova. So you really gotta watch where you do it. That's why it's suggested when you go to run to the wall, do it behind his legs, as close to him as possible. So when you come running back, there shouldn't be any poison there dropped. Then you've already passed it. But so, do we get him on this one? Well, I think we do, but we are out of time for this video, so you're going to have to come to part 2 and see what happens as we go through the rest of the Construct Quarter. Oh, he's just the start of the fun. Oh, believe me. Coordinated fights pretty much the norm in Nax, so get used to it. So if you have problems with that, you might need some help. We'll see you in part 2. Coming up next.